What's up guys, it's Boondocks here. Today I'm going to be showing off the Axeplosion build for Krieg. It's actually a pretty common build, and the whole concept is when you throw your Buzz Axe during Buzz Axe Rampage, you apply both explosive damage and melee damage. So I'm going to be showing the items first. Pretty much since you're going to be boosting so much explosive damage, and explosive damage is a pretty well neutral ability, I like to take the Kerblaster and the Carnage, and feel free to swap those out with like a conference call or whatever you need in order to do damage to an enemy. Or in some respects, I'd rock an Omen just to ignite enemies, and I'll show you why coming up. I also take 2 Norfleets. The reason for this is when you're in Buzz Axe Rampage, if you get Alpha Striked, you might go down. By having 2 Norfleets, you can almost guarantee that you're going to get back up just from being able to fire off one and then quickly switching to the other and firing that off instead of having to wait for the reload time. The shield, it's pretty primary, it's the Rough Rider. The main reason you want to take this is for the damage resistance and the max health bonus, and that's going to help you out a good deal. The increased health gives you a larger window before you have to go into Blood Axe Rampage, or a larger window that you're going to be at 33% for, and the damage resistance is going to prevent you from dying when you get to that window. For grenades, I take the Homing Stormfront. The reason behind this is when you throw out a Homing Stormfront, you're going to be doing a lot of procs of damage, and even a little bit of proc will give you a stack of Bloodlust. A couple Homing Stormfronts and you'll be at max Bloodlust almost immediately. For my class mod, I'm using the Legendary Sickle. Now this actually won't give you the most damage, but overall I feel like it gives you a good amount of survivability on top of everything else. If you want to do max damage, what you need to pick up is actually a Flesh Crunch mod with +6 to strip the flesh and the explosive damage. The Taste of Blood is also beneficial. For Relics, this actually, once again, is the most damaging relic that you can have, but it also increases your survivability. Gives you that 39% bonus health, again increasing all your windows. But that max, or the health regen per second, can actually hurt you, because if you're right on the edge of that 33%, you can actually heal up one little tick over, and then you can activate your Buzz Axe Rampage and put your ability on cooldown, which is not good. If you want to switch that out for something better, I recommend you take an explosive elemental relic, again to just increase your damage. So now let's move on to the skills, starting with the Bloodlust tree. If you're playing Krieg, you know what his primary ability is, Buzz Axe Rampage. When you go into Buzz Axe Rampage, whenever you kill your enemy, you're going to refill your entire health, which is always very nice. Plus you get that melee damage reduction, or melee damage increase, that's ridiculous. The cooldown is pretty decent, but I mean, it's way too long to hope to go into it and then for it to be up by the next fight. That gets taken care of though with Mania. Blood-filled guns, it's really just throwaway points. Who really cares about your magazine size? You're going to be in Blood Axe Rampage most of the time. Feel free to move them over to Blood Twitch if you really want to. It's not that important though, because the only time that you're going to really have to switch your guns is when you're going to be dead, in which case you're not going to have access to your kill skill. Taste the Blood. This one is amazing. With the damage reduction during Buzz Axe Rampage, and the fact that whenever you get a kill during it, you're going to be increasing your stacks, so that way when it wears off, if you get to low health right away, you're going to be able to go right back into it with maximum number of Bloodlust stacks. And that's helpful because of Blood Trance. If you have 100 Bloodlust stacks when you activate Buzz Axe Rampage, Blood Trance will give you an additional 25 seconds. The real focus for getting damage though is with Fuel the Blood, and over here Strip the Flesh. Feel the Blood works off of your Bloodlust stacks again. So if you're up to 100 and then you get the kill skill, you're going to increase your grenade damage by an additional you're going to increase your grenade damage by an additional 20%. Buzz Axe Bombardier puts the dynamite on your axes. That counts as grenades, which is where all your other skills get their damage up from. Willing Blood just lets you hold on to those stacks a little bit longer. And Blood Explosion is pretty amazing. You kill one enemy, and it'll kill other enemies around it, doing overkill damage on each one. That overkill damage can actually keep increasing exponentially. So, if there's a big enemy, like an ultimate badass that's surrounded by a couple lunatics or a midget or something, if you kill the little midget, you'll start a chain reaction that'll eventually just burn down the ultimate badass without you even touching him. Over here, we're going to have Empty the Rage, just to give you that melee damage, and the shield mag bonus doesn't really matter. You can actually drop that melee damage increase because it's not all that important, but there's nowhere else to really put the points, so we're just going to move on. The max health is what's important here, increasing it by another 50%. The shield recharge delays, who cares, we're using a Rough Rider. And Embrace the Pain, though the fire rate might be nice when you're just trying to shoot, you're going to try to be in Blood Axe Rampage most of the time, Buzz Axe Rampage. So because of that, it's not as beneficial. Now Strip the Flesh increases your explosive damage by 15%. That is pretty nice, and that's why when you put the class mod on, that'll actually boost this by +6. You're now looking at far more, and that's going to increase your thrown buzz axes. Salt the Wounds, again, will increase your thrown buzz axes because they gain the melee damage as well. And you're going to be constantly taking damage when you're in Buzz Axe Rampage, so you should be at max stacks or near max stacks most of the time. Silence the Voices. This is the biggest issue with trying to go just straight melee Krieg, where you're trying to get in and just swing at an enemy. The issue being that bonus 500% damage is really attractive. The problem is, whenever you hit yourself, you're actually going to stagger, because you're hitting yourself and not your enemy. That gives them a chance to kill you or run away, and you're standing there looking stupid. Fortunately, that bonus is still added to a thrown Buzz Axe, but because you're throwing it, you're not ever going to hurt yourself or get staggered. Now, Mania is amazing. Whenever you fall below 33%, and you get that little flashing exclamation point, all you have to do is hit your activation skill, and next thing you know, you're at full health with increased melee damage and damage reduction. This is where the build gets run from. Basically, you just wait until you fall below 33%, then try to kill an enemy, or activate your skill. You go up to 100%, keep killing enemies, and you'll stay alive. Over here, I put points in Burn Baby Burn for the burn damage, which isn't all that important. The point is that you have that chance to ignite yourself increase, and then the kill skill will increase it as well. So the whole point of this is fueled off of Fire Fiend, because now your melee attacks will have a chance to ignite yourself, which then gives you damage reduction from Numb Nerves. I also put 1 point into Pain is Power, just to increase your melee damage a little bit more, and when you're on fire, you'll get an even bigger bonus. So that's my Axeplosive Krieg build, and let me go try to show how it's played. I actually turned off the game sounds this time around, just because I was afraid that in some of my other videos it was a little too hard to hear me talk, and possibly that the sound got a little bit too loud and annoying. So now that I'm at 33%, activate my Buzz Axe Rampage. I don't know why I keep saying that wrong. Okay, see right there, I hit myself and got staggered. Fortunately, I was able to get a kill. Now that I've killed one enemy, though, I'm no longer going to be trying to melee. Instead, I'm going to use my thrown Buzz Axes. Now, the tricky thing about this build, though, is the fact that you really need to practice throwing your Buzz Axes. I usually don't play the melee Krieg. I actually like playing the Hellborn Tree Krieg a lot more, so I'm not as good as I need to be when it comes to playing this. Fortunately, because of just because it's all around good. And because of the setup in this situation where all the enemies are on the ground and they're not flying around, I don't have to worry about trying to kill like a buzzard. Whenever you try to kill a flying enemy with this build, it becomes really hard. I mean, it's just a different skill that you need to learn. Every other character that you play is different than Krieg when he's in his melee form. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's something you can adjust. And I already have that skin. Okay. I'm actually a big skin collector. I try to farm them up as much as possible. It's part of the reason why I like to kill Pyro Pete. Even though who really cares about runners? You're not in them very much. I still like having them. Okay, right there. If you notice, I killed one guy, and the chain reaction just lit them all up. The nice thing too about explosive damage is it's neutral. So even armored targets can fall pretty quickly with it, or shielded targets for that matter. Right there, I missed pretty badly actually. Okay, now that I'm out, I'm going to throw out my homing Stormfront so that way next time I go in, I'll be at max stacks. As you can see, they're just constantly going up. And there we go. Nice and easy. Also, when you first go in, if you were zoomed to begin with, make sure you release the zoom because you have to reactivate it in order for you to be able to target with your thrown buzz axe. Okay, watch. If I kill the 1 million, look how much damage it did as extra on the backside. Okay, right here. I don't like shielded targets because they'll block your damage. That's one of the few times I actually like to go melee. Come on, you little bastard. I don't know why I hate midgets, man. I was just swinging over his head like it was nobody's business. But, as you can see, the enemies just come at you, and you don't take shit worth damage. And then, all you have to do is keep having your bloodlust stacks up, wait for your damage or your health to drop low, and go right back into it. It's a pretty straightforward chain. Make sure you get that kill skill. Otherwise, if you don't have the kill skill, your explosive damage is going to be minimal. But if you see some of those numbers when I hit, your melee damage is off the charts. You could do 30 million melee damage plus an additional 10 or 15 million from your explosions. Yeah, right here, if you notice, this is not good. Hopefully I can get a kill off. Uh-oh. Come on, there it is. Good job. See, you need to constantly be getting those kills in order to ensure you stay alive. So it can get a little tricky. You can still crit as well with the thrown buzz axe, and by doing that you'll guarantee a kill. That's the multiplier off the crit is where you really see those that massive amount of damage I was talking about where you're getting the 30 million. I really do love the Omen because right here I just lit myself on fire, so I'm going to take a little bit less damage, and that's going to allow me to fall into Buzz Axe Rampage that much easier. Okay, now that I got the kill, I can switch over to my thrown Buzz Axes. Boom, right there, 30 million. The explosive damage isn't perfect, mind you, but it does have the splash still on it, like all explosive weapons, where if you hit close enough to an enemy, you're still going to be doing damage. It's just not going to be full damage. Wow, that was a whiff. Okay, so right here, I'm down. Perfect time for the Norfleets. And right back into Buzz Axe Rampage. Also, when you first activate it, you don't have to worry about taking damage because you have a brief period of invulnerability that you can then use to close in on enemies and make sure you're still right on top of them. So, pretty straightforward. That's the explosive Krieg. Hope you enjoyed it. Here's the build overall. Try to turn him so that way you're just trying to look, you can see it. He's got a lot of good survivability. The only issue is flying enemies or way distant enemies, the guys that are sitting up on top of buildings. You have to practice throwing the buzz axe, though he is a lot of fun to play. So good luck, guys, have fun, and peace.